All right. So today we're playing some Goryo Pig, I'm calling it. In addition to Goryo's Vengeance and Through the Breach, enabling us to put giant things like Griselbrand and Emrakul into play. We have 4 copies of the Raze-Boar here as another way to cheat these things out. One thing that's like kind of worth noting about this is that Raze-Boar puts the creature into play tapped and attacking, which means that Emrakul's Annihilator trigger does not work. So this will hit them for 15 still when it comes into play off the Raze-Boar, which hopefully is lethal with a 6/6 Trampler, but it is worth noting that if that's not lethal, this is not going to clear their board, like when you Goryo's Vengeance or Through the Breach it. One thing I like to clarify or make sure that people understand is that this deck, even though it is a Goryo's Vengeance Through the Breach deck, the way the games tend to play out is fundamentally very different than the Griselbrand deck that we've played on stream in the past. So the Nourishing Shoal iteration is a full combo deck that you basically get Griselbrand into play and you draw your entire deck and kill them this turn. Whereas this deck is generally just like putting Griselbrand into play, hitting them, drawing like 7 or 14 at most. So that way it can gas back up and Emrakul them or Griselbrand them again the following turn. Which functionally ends up being a good bit different than the Griselbrand deck, which you play it and you kill them the turn you put Griselbrand into play, like 9 times out of 10. I think I keep this, like, it needs to draw some lands, but it's got, like, Through the Breach, or it's got Collective Brutality as Disruption, and it's got Breach Emrakul set up, and, like, I can escalate the Brutality to bin a Griselbrand, which means that Goryo's Vengeance is live off the top, so, like, Mana or Goryo's Vengeance are both, like, reasonable draws here. Watery Grave Inquisition generally means really bad news for our deck. Grixis Shadow tends to be a deck that puts a clock into play very quickly. That being said, I could see this being a matchup that having access to 4 pigs helps swing. Just because the pig doesn't get Inquisition and it doesn't get Stubborn Denial. Sometimes these Shadow decks have a Disdainful Stroke or 2 out of the sideboard, but Pig's like pretty likely to resolve. So if my opponent doesn't have an exceptionally fast clock, Pig's the way we could probably sneak things into play and kill them. Whereas like when you're playing the Griselbrand deck, this matchup's like pretty close to impossible. This build also has some Chalice of the Void in the sideboard, which should be very useful here. For people not super familiar with Modern, this Dark Slick Shores actually is indicative of the fact that my opponent is not playing Grixis Shadow. And that's just one of those bits of information you get from having a lot of experience with the format. Because Shadow doesn't play lands that don't deal damage to itself. So Dark Slick Shores and this Field of Ruin both indicate that my opponent is not playing the deck that I initially thought they might be from Watery Grave Inquisition. Why on God's green earth would you do this now? Milla TK coming in with the 40-month resubscription. Thank you very much for keeping me around. I appreciate the support. they should either click in response to this through the breach, or they should click me on their turn and take the through the breach away. They should probably click me on their turn and take the through the breach away. I think I'm just Emrakuling them. This leaves them at 2, but it makes their fetch lands worse. Like, it cleans their board out. Well, I mean, they knew my entire hand. So, like, they had full knowledge. They knew every card in my hand they knew from the Inquisition earlier. So, like, they were working with perfect information with this Vendilion click here. Why does it matter if I wait till they target me? Opponent decides they can't come back from losing 4 cards and going to 2. I don't have a lot going on, so like I probably would have played on from there depending on what their hand looks like. Maybe their hand is just rancid. Alright, so miscellaneous blue-black deck. I don't think I want Chalice of the Void. Thoughtseize seems good. Night's Whisper seems good if they're very disruption heavy and don't have a lot of pressure. Cathartic Reunion tends to be pretty bad against decks playing counterspells. I'm gonna go ahead and trim a Generator Servant, I think. Yeah, I'll trim a Simian Spirit Guide. Like I said, I don't know 100% what they're doing. Definitely playing a bit of a brew. Could be blue-black control. Could be blue-black fairies. Their archetype is not a, like, typical tiered deck in the format. So regardless of what they're doing, there's probably going to be a little bit of variation in it. Our hand is pretty redundant here. Engineered Plague on a 2/2 Death Touch body does not sound particularly good in Modern. It sounds good against, like, exactly elves, and then what else? Like, even against humans, like, the number of not X1s that they have is, like, kind of low. And, like, a lot of their X1s grow out of range and they play Thalia's Lieutenant, so you have, like, a very small window. This thing just doesn't even look like a Magic card. It looks nice, it just doesn't look like a Magic card. We cleverly drew the Through the Breach after their discard spell here, so if we hit a land next turn, we can Breach a Dork. Yeah, they added these in. Does anyone know, do those codes still work? I feel like I didn't go and apply those codes. I probably should. Get my freebies. Opponent. Do. I mean, like, mocks basically have two modes, right? They're either, like, unplayable or cracked in half. So, like, this one's obviously close to the unplayable camp. Well, if it had suspend 2 pike, it would come into play on turn 3, and everybody knows Modern's a turn 4 format, so you can't give people 1 extra mana on turn 3. That's unreasonable. It's just not fair. Hey, Krabat, thank you for the 8-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Hey, look. My opponent cast Unmortigo and named Griselbrand. That gives me an extra draw to mana source for next turn, so I can through the breach of this Emrakul. I'm playing green-red Sarkhan or black-red Aristocrats. Probably, depending on whichever has a better red matchup. But a lot of people registering Basic Mountains recently. Hey, look, I get to Emrakul them. Yay, magic. Hey, Kazenti, thank you for the 18-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Tomorrow is the first MCQ weekend on Magic Arena for finishing in the top 1,000 of the first 2 seasons. I've seen a few people complain about the Bear Queen, and like, the Bear Queen is great. EDH Horizons is like wildly successful. You'll be at Pastimes. Enjoy your $75 MCQ. Urza's Tower. Alright, so we're looking for a Griselbrand or an Emrakul here. Get a number of looks at him. Swing and a miss. So, next turn I get Faithless Looting. And then Goryo's Vengeance. Hey, look, it's an Emrakul. That's lethal, right? This is turn 2, by the way. BT dubs for those who are counting. Sorry, turn 4. They took 2 turns. We took 2 turns. 2 plus 2 is 4. Modern's a turn 4 format. Sorry, I don't want to push a narrative. Modern's a turn 4 format. 2 plus 2. Flip the piggy. The most important part about playing games like this in person is after you finish, you need to extend your hand and say good games. Just let your opponent know that you have played, in fact, what you consider to be a good game of Magic. Always goes over really well in my experience. So Abrade's definitely good here for killing like Grafdigger's Cages and Relic of Progenituses. I think we all would have been less than happy with Horizons if they explained that Horizons is more like Future Sight 2 or an updated Time Spire, while some of the cards are targeted for modern play like Seasoned Pyromancer in the land cycle, but many of the cards will be fun designs that 99% will not be modern. Yeah, I agree, X. I also think Seasoned Pyromancer is probably, I'd be surprised if that card's modern playable. Was that good for you? Was it good for you? I got there. I finished completely. I need to cut 2 more cards. Do I want these Thoughtseizes? Maybe I don't. Yeah, I'm gonna not. Just leave the Abrades in. Swap Abrades for Collective Brutality. All right, sign me up. Feel like we've been here before. Feel like this is a future that I've seen already. And I think we always been the pig here as opposed to Griselbrand. Although I guess maybe that's not true. Because I could, if I hold on to the pig, I could cast the pig on 3. But casting the pig on 3 is probably too slow. Goryo's Vengeance. Goryo's Vengeance. Gosh, we're so unlucky, chat. Alright, so we cast this, so this way, through the Breach or Goryo's Vengeance, both let us put a Griselbrand into play next turn. Yeah, basically, Cinnabar. I mean, one of the things that you might have missed the opening, Punchworthy, but like, I think one of the things a lot of people do incorrectly, Decimars, thanks for the brand new Prime support. I think one of the things people do like pretty incorrectly with these decks is assume that this deck and Griselbrand are the same thing. And I think that's just like really just couldn't be further from the truth. Like this deck is like fundamentally functionally different than what Griselbrand is doing. Hey, look, we drew a pig. Yay, piggy! Yay! I'm about to get Ensnaring Bridge. I think I'm about to get Ensnaring Bridged. One Abrade, please. I don't know, Punchworthy. I've always liked decks like this a little bit less than the traditional Goryo's Vengeance deck, just because it always kind of felt like Like, not winning the turn I combo feels awkward. Are we actually dead there? Yeah, they were gonna get Mycosynth Lattice next turn, which meant I could no longer play Magic. I could. I know I concede quickly here, but we were literally dead next turn. Just could no longer win the game. Yeah, Curdy, one of my favorite things about playing the JAC deck is that it's just like super good against Blood Moon. You're just like, yep, get out of here. I'm gonna ditch this. And I'm gonna ditch Pentad Prism. So I'll put Generator Servant into play on turn 3 here, or in turn 2, and then turn 3 we breach. Oh, Punchworthy. Hey, Ghost. Thanks for the 7 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. How does Mycosynth Lattice stop us from playing? So, Karn, 4-mana Karn's passive ability turns off all artifacts your opponents control. So Mycosynth Lattice turns everything into an artifact. And now, we don't kill them this turn, but the goal is we now draw enough cards to, like, Emrakul them and finish them next turn. Yeah, casting spells on Magic Online is kind of rough. All right, I think I'm supposed to take another hit here. Because ideally, next turn, I want land, Simian Spirit Guide. Oh, actually, I have Thoughtseize, right? So this is probably fine. Because basically, I want to be able to Abrade an Ensnaring Bridge and attack with Emrakul. Or Abrade a Relic and attack with Emrakul. So if I play a land, I Thoughtseize myself, I discard this, or sorry, I play a land, I Abrade that leaves me with 2 mana, and then I Thoughtseize myself, put my Emrakul in the bin that leaves me with 1 mana, and then I pitch the Simian Spirit Guide to Goryo's Vengeance. So yeah, I think this is fine. No reason to not draw extra, they can't kill us. Yeah, I guess that's fair. But I mean, like, so, like, what are the cards that I'm keeping right now? So, like, I'm keeping... I need to keep 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like... Actually, I don't have a pig in the bin. So, like, the reason to draw is to, like, draw to another legendary to discard. But, like, I already have, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like, 7 cards I want to keep here, right? So, like, if I'm drawing more, like, how do these cards get better, basically? Yeah, if you want to cut that into today, David, that's fine. Perfect. Perfectly acceptable. Yeah, I think I just go ahead and move to clean up here. No. So if you pig the Emrakul, you don't get the Annihilator trigger. Yeah, Arena is currently in downtime. It's supposed to be in downtime for another hour. Sure. And this is why I wanted to figure out how to Emrakul them through a bridge, so when they do this and put bridge into play, I still kill them. Yep, yeah, you're good, Davids. Just use the donate button below the stream. Yeah, there were some bugs from yesterday's update that they're hotfixing. So, if they have surgical extraction here, I get into trouble. But if they don't have surgical extraction, they're dead. No surgical. GG. Alright. Attack you. Gosh, what a long game of Modern. They took 3 turns, we took 4 turns. Turn 7. This game's like practically in a nursing home compared to most games of Modern. It's ancient, chat. Thank goodness Stoneforge Mystic stays caged up. That's definitely too powerful for this format. Yeah, attacking Planeswalker still has Annihilator happen. I don't know about little details like that. Hey, David's coming in hot with the big tip. Thank you for the absurd support. I appreciate it. Hope you're having a fantastic end to your week. That'll be first thing for the arena segment. Yeah, Sien's great, right? We're on the draw, so I get to Gemstone Cavern here. I think I'm just ditching Collective Brutality. I believe that was 100 euro, which comes out to, I believe that's what that symbol means. At any rate, it comes out to about 126 US dollars. Alright, so my opponent's playing green-red Valakut, Naya Valakut. Either way, any Valakut matchup's probably pretty good for us. Their deck tends to be pretty slow. And, like, again, this is one of those things where, like, I'm getting Griselbrand into play here, but this deck doesn't kill the turn it puts Griselbrand into play. So, like, I can't make more black mana this turn. Not euro. I don't know what that currency is. I'm uncultured American swine. I don't know. Uncultured swine. I'm a boar, but I'm not a god. British pounds. There you go. Pounds. Got it. Look at that. We're becoming cultured here. I know it's confusing, by the way, because I have 3 lands in play here. But I played Gemstone Caverns for free on turn 0. So this was my second turn of the game again. So again, even though my opponent explored Night of Gemstone Caverns, this was turn 4. My opponent took 2 turns. I took 2 turns. Modern's a turn 4 format. Thank goodness Stoneforge Mystic is banned. Thank goodness the tyranny of Stoneforge Mystic is not legal. If you're someone who your Twitch notifications occasionally don't work, you should make sure you're in the subscriber Discord and have @everyone notifications on. Myself and my wife are the only people who have the ability to tag everyone on the subs Discord, and I post a notification there every morning when we go live and then when we start standard. So even though it's a big server, you won't get spammed with that everyone's and here, because I'm the only one that can do that, and my wife. Yeah, there's a few miscellaneous cards in Horizons that look like they could potentially be modern playable. There's a bunch of cards in the Horizon set that aren't like gonna go into good modern decks, but they're gonna be more than fine in like fringe bad tier 2 decks. Alright, so I want Thoughtseize to disrupt what they have going on a little bit. Now I'm not quite sure what I actually want to cut here. It's probably Generator Servant, because they can interact and kill this. I don't know, I think this matchup's pretty good for us overall, so like less is more. Details on how to get into the subscriber Discord are here. The TLDR is from your desktop computer. You need to link your 2 accounts using the connections tab. Sure. Dude Light coming in hot with the big tip. Sounds good, dude. We'll make sure. And if no one else bumps anything, I'll leave 4-color Dreadhorde in the queue with that donation for Monday. I think if today's session with 4-color goes well, I plan to add it to my website. Probably want to keep this for double red. I'm either playing green-red Sarkhan or black-red Aristocrats. Those are the 2 I'm looking for. Alright, so we're off the Goryo's Vengeance plan, which is unfortunate, because we just drew one, so hoping to find a Through the Breach or a big fat pig here. Yeah, I'm not... I would say I'm snapping off... Aristocrats, but I'm not 100% sure how good that deck is against mono red. We haven't played enough. Thanks, Johnny. I appreciate that. Welcome back. When Modern Horizons drops, we're going to do a couple of modern-only days. So they have 5 lands right now. Collective Brutality doesn't get Primeval Titan, and they probably can't Scape Shift us next turn, so I'm just going to go ahead and flash back this Faithless Looting. Look for a Breach or a Pig here. Hey, Ian, thank you for the 39 months of support. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Darnia, thanks for the 14 months. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. I kind of feel like Pitch Blue doesn't really gain anything from that card, Nivik. Like, the Pitch Blue deck has a problem with, like, creatures that get on the board, not with random non-creature spells. I basically never play limited. So my drafting process would consist of me fumbling around on stream for you all. If you wanna watch people play limited, I'd recommend checking out Ben Stark, MTG Nerd Girl, Caleb Durward, Newmont the Nummy. Lots of great people that really enjoy playing lots of limited. Hey, Ridge. I think we might be dead here, chat. They're gonna prime time us next turn. We can hardcast Griselbrand, can't we? Blue-Green Vow is Kamal's Druidic Vow. It is a new deck. Unfortunately, putting Griselbrand into play hardcast here isn't good enough, because I have to fetch to do it, which puts me to 12. And then when this Primeval Titan attacks next turn, it gets 2 mountains, which deals 12 to us. So I'll be dead. Looking for it through the breach. We did not drain with Brutality, which looks like it was a mistake. But, like, even if I drain with the Brutality there, like, any other ramp spell or mountain still kills us. So, we're probably dead even if I drain with the Brutality. They had a Relic in play, Pike. They had a Relic and a mana up. For people asking why I conceded instead of flashing back the Faithless Looting, they had a Relic and a mana up. Oh, say it doesn't do much, but it's where we're at. I'm going to take it a little bit slow. Wait and see if they have a Cage or Relic on one. This is match 3. This is match 3. Waiting on the Faithless Lootings also gives me a chance to see more cards before I discard. So looking for an Emrakul or a Pig. All right. Do you have a surgical? I actually have 1, 2, 3 the ability to Emrakul them again next turn and just do it again. We kept Guide, we could beat Surgical. Yeah, but then I don't have a way to kill them next turn, guaranteed. And I think I want the guaranteed way to deal the next 5. They're pretty unlikely to play Surgical. $1,100 for modern. Smells like arena downtime. Good morning, everyone. For people who are newer, well, matchmaking is down, Mr. Silicon. Unless it just came back up. According to the arena status page, the matchmaking is currently down. There's codes for full art lands on MTGO. Hey, Jiffish, thanks for the half year. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Am I on the draw? I'm on the draw, so we can keep this. So, if I draw land next turn, I can Collective Brutality, ditch the Emrakul, Goryo's Vengeance, the Emrakul into play. To have me play Narset Cannon at Paper Tournament, way too much. Yeah, I really don't want to get remanded, right? I'm gonna pass. I could go for it here, but like it literally blows my entire load. Yeah, now, yeah, exactly. We go for it this turn because we can't get Cryptic commanded this turn. And drawing the Cathartic Reunion is actually really nice because it means even when this Goryo's Vengeance gets countered here, we still get to draw 3 cards. So probably dead from here. And this is why the Emrakul package is incredibly awkward against interactive decks. Is because, like, if that had just been a Griselbrand, for instance, we'd have been able to Collective Brutality and let that resolve to, like, poke into their hand, and then Goryo's Vengeance the following turn, like, at their end step. We have a lot, this deck's a lot more just, like, jam it and pray, whereas Griselbrand has a lot more, like, nuance and, like, interaction points where you're able to, like, play through stuff better. Hey, KM Bet, thanks for re-upping that Prime for the 2nd month in a row. Welcome back. Yeah, playing something like Narset Cannon in a tournament, it's just like not a good use of my weekend. So, like, I'd have to really, basically, like, people ask how much would I want to do that. Like, I'd have to be enough money for me to basically be wasting 3 days of my life. Sometimes you have to refresh your browser page or reload your app, Iambot. Yeah. Yeah, the Howling Mine tournament, was like 1,500, but like, to just like put it bluntly, my stream was smaller then, so like my time was worth less. Basically, like, traveling to play in a tournament for the weekend, like, especially if I'm just like playing a throwaway deck essentially, it's like I have to wait what's that worth versus streaming for like streaming 16 hours in a weekend is like less work than traveling to play in a tournament for the weekend, and like I know what 16-hour streaming can turn into guaranteed. And streaming for 16 hours in a weekend grows my stream more than doing something silly at a tournament where I'm going to be on camera for like one round and then like probably never again. Weird, coming in hot with the brand new tier 1 sub. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. Hope you're having a fantastic start to your weekend. Pretty good chance we can't win from here. Hey, SPR Brem, thank you for the 3 months. Hey, appreciate the quarter of a year. Welcome back. Nice, Rem. Yeah, it was good. It was good publicity when we were getting started, for sure. Hey, well, I appreciate that, Weird. Thanks for keeping me around. Glad you enjoy the YouTube archives. I assume they've been activating this Desolate Lighthouse enough that their hand is, like, super great. But they also just might not have that many counterspells in their main deck. Like, how dead we are here is probably proportional to the number of cryptic commands they play. Yeah, exactly, Brad. That's why I went to Iowa with you and Matt last weekend. Just get out for a weekend. Okie doke. Griselbrand's like kind of something I'm waiting on here. I went 2-2, Jin. Sure. Yeah, so Through the Breach is an instant, and it doesn't exile the creature until the beginning of your next end step. So basically I'm going to end of turn Through the Breach them. Well, now we're main phase Through the Breaching them. Because that's a 3-free. Sure. Yeah, but I'd have gotten to draw a bunch of cards, Brad. All right, we've been remanded back into the Stone Age, chat. So, like, this is why I said, like, our chance to win here is, like, proportional to their number of Okay. Okay, we're locked. That's the combo, chat. That, we can't cast spells anymore. So the way Possibility Storm and Teferi Time Raveler interact is this means we can't play spells anymore. Because Possibility Storm says if you cast something, you exile cards off the top of your deck and then can cast the next one. But Teferi says you can't cast anymore. So 3 free plus Peace Storm there is a 1/1/2, you're dead. Always board out Cathartic Reunion against counterspell decks. Night's Whisper and Thoughtseize can come in here. Probably Tram a Generator Servant because it dies to removal. Rest of this seems fine. Do you think they're on the Academy Memnite Emrakul plan too? Probably not. It's hard to know for sure. Sure. Looking for a land. All right. Well, we have the turn 2, right? We have attack you for 21 on turn 2. Cast Serum Visions. Cast Serum Visions. Cast Serum Visions. Cast Serum Visions. Gosh, we're so unlucky, eh? All right, on to the next one. Onward, upward, backward, forward. I don't want to play with my opponent. They're mean. Yeah, we're not drawing a land for a while. And the highs and the lows, chat. The highs and the lows. Time for the 3-2, right? Exactly. Working our way towards the 3-2. And it's fine. Not amazing, but fine. Yeah, they're already seeing play in both formats, Shadow. The control decks have picked up both those cards in both formats effectively. That's true. In fact, the reason we have the mute icon on my stream is because people were often confused when I'd mute to eat if they were having audio issues or not, because Moto just has no sound. Sure. So we're gonna attack for 21 next turn. That's true. Moto does technically have sound effects. They're just not sound effects anybody wants to hear. I wonder if they have Tormod's Crypt in their board. I bet they do. If they have 2 more lands here, we're actually just dead. Because they get Lattice and lock us out. Yep. Oh, Modern. Yeah, Stan B. For people who are new to Modern, the best way I can describe Modern to people who haven't played it before is that Modern is basically like if everyone was playing a different iteration of the Nexus of Fate combo deck, but there's like 40 different flavors of Nexus of Fate. So they're not all infinite turn decks, but they're all decks that are basically just hoping to play past the opponent and ignore what the opponent's doing to either like lock them out of the game or kill them very, very quickly. So if you're someone who enjoys interactive Magic, this is definitely not the format for you. Even there's some interactive decks that are like somewhat competitive, but you have to enjoy playing those interactive decks against linear decks constantly because that's most of what you're going to play against. Hey, Malaris, thank you for the 5-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. I need 3 more cuts here. I think I want Abrade, and I think I want Chalice, not only for locking out Tormod's Crypt, but also for taking their packs offline. What do I want to cut here? Is it probably just mana? It's probably mana. Maybe this is boarding in too much. Yeah, it's probably overboarding. Now, I think the acceleration is pretty important, especially on the play. On the draw, I'm going to cut mana and bring the Chalices back in. But I think on the play, I just want to, like, get as linear as possible. All right, and that's a pig on top of my deck. So I'm not going to fetch here because I want to draw the pig next turn. And then if I draw a mana source the turn after the pig, I actually get to kill them on 3, which is nice. There was literally a Tormod's Crypt in play, Kova. Literally a Tormod's Crypt in play. It was the first thing they got with card. I mean, like, I know I make mistakes on stream with some frequency, but like, oh, you know what? I messed up. I should have fetched a shock land here because this takes red. Now if I draw a swamp, I can't cast this next turn. So this should be a Blood Crypt. the term linear, as it applies to Magic, essentially means a deck that wants to ignore its opponent and just play past them and not... You basically... A deck that's linear is extremely happy with its opponent never playing a card to impact them and them never playing a card to impact the opponent. So, the Generator Servant gives this boar haste. Attack you for 21. Got him. Generator Servant was kind of decent there. Yeah, Storm's a great example of a linear deck. A couple of people were talking about humans and where that deck falls in things. So, humans has some what I would classify as like tempo style disruption, but humans is a great example of what modern is. So, even though humans has some disruption and some interaction in it, humans is still a deck that, with certain draws, Goldfish is a turn 4 kill. Grixis Death Shadow, great example of a deck that has Thoughtseizes and Stubborn Denials and other stuff like that, but can Goldfish a turn 3 kill. These decks that, even when they are a little bit interactive, still Goldfish a really fast kill, that's what Modern's about. Generally speaking, the best decks in Modern are the ones that Goldfish fast kills while also they Goldfish fast kills while also having the ability to be slightly disruptive for people who are trying to Goldfish faster than them. I'd have to go through the math, but I'm pretty sure there's Thalia's Lieutenant combinations that actually deal lethal by 4. Alright, so I'm going to shock this in. So this way, if we draw Goryo's Vengeance, we can Emrakul them. Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize is like a decent rip, right? Lets me disrupt them a little bit. Alright, so far their hand does nothing. The problem is these Ancient Stories could find them a Karn, and then Karn locks us out pretty quickly. This card costs 5 mana, Coons. Nope, it's supposed to be Blue-Green Vow. As always, if you have a question about a deck that's coming up in the deck queue or listed in the stream title, you can always find the deck queue public on my website with links to the deck lists in them. Yeah, it's 4 to splice, which means if you have Nourishing Shoal, it does cost 4. If I draw a mana source next turn, I can Faithless Looting Emrakul them. Actually, if I draw a mana source, I just threw the breach Emrakul them, right? And if I don't draw a mana source, I get to Goryo's Vengeance back my Griselbrand, which is similarly good. All right. That makes things harder. Yeah, Modern is very similar to Vintage with a cheaper price tag. So my hope is that the new non-rotating format will be closer to Legacy in terms of like fair magic and price tag. So that way we have like one reasonably affordable fair format, one reasonably affordable unfair format. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They could put something into play with this and keep one. I do have a kitchen in my cave now. There's an entire snack bar behind me that Christy put together, and I have a microwave and a mini fridge now. That's quite wonderful. The opponent's experience there in these second two games has largely been my experience playing Amulet Titan. Like, sometimes it really does its thing, but a lot of the time it just, like, flops around. It doesn't do anything. My wife calls it my push-button kitchen. That's great. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know that 5 matches is really enough to really give me a feel for this versus Griselbrand. So, like, the big difference here, obviously, is, like, in the Griselbrand deck, when you Goryo's Griselbrand, you almost always win the game. In this deck, when you Goryo's the Pig, you often win the game. So, like, Griselbrand isn't game-winning with the Vengeance here, but Pig is game-winning, and Griselbrand often draws you enough cards to win the game the following turn. So, like, depending on what kind of match you're playing in Modern, this can be good enough to win the game on, like, Suspend 1, basically. But while there are some similarities, a lot of the play patterns that this deck is doing end up being kind of fundamentally different than, like, the Griselbrand deck. How good is the Stream Room project? We haven't started yet, so all of our extra money to do projects like that is currently tied up in the old house still, which we actually just had an offer get placed on. So fingers crossed their inspection goes okay and we close on that next month, and then we can build up my streaming room. What modern deck? Green-Black Elves. This is kind of my go-to competitive deck of choice. It's what I played at the modern Nerd Rage tournament last weekend. Good mix of